The mask of charm. When connection is a trap, they don't come with sirens or danger signs. In fact, when they first walk into your life, they may seem like a dream, the perfect person at the perfect moment. Their smile feels like sunshine on a winter day. Their words land like poetry, crafted just for your ears. You feel seen, understood, even special. But what you don't realize is this: you're being studied, not loved. You're being evaluated, not embraced. You are not meeting someone who truly sees you. You're encountering a mask worn by a master manipulator. These individuals possess a level of charm that is far from ordinary. It's not the friendly, warm charisma that good-hearted people naturally radiate. No, this charm is precise, calculated, engineered to disarm you. It's a spotlight, not a glow. And it is aimed straight at you, not to illuminate your path, but to blind you from seeing what's really behind it. Picture it like this. Real charm is a campfire. Everyone can gather around it and feel its warmth. A psychopath's charm, on the other hand, is more like a laser, sharply focused and used with surgical precision to cut into your trust and defenses. They'll shower you with praise so flattering, it almost feels surreal. They'll remember small, obscure details you mentioned once in passing, like your favorite tea, that rare indie band you love, or the quote that always inspires you. And just like magic, they'll mirror these preferences back to you as if your soul had found its twin. But magic has a cost, and this illusion is laced with intent. This is not coincidence. This is customization. A psychopath will craft their entire personality to resemble your ideal partner, friend, or confidant. They will morph into the person they sense you most desire. If you're into nature, suddenly they're posting hikes and trail shots. If you're passionate about charity, they'll have touching stories about volunteer work. It's not them. It's a costume designed to seduce you. And that's when the first red flag quietly unfurls. The sudden disappearance of charm when control slips from their hands. The warmth that once made you feel like the center of their universe vanishes, often overnight. One moment, you're adored. The next, you feel cold-shouldered, ignored, even punished. The shift is jarring. But instead of questioning them, your instinct may be to question yourself. Did I say something wrong? Maybe they're just going through something? Maybe I'm overreacting? That's not your overreaction. That's your intuition screaming. What you're seeing is the real person behind the mask, a persona that was always conditional, always strategic. Their charm was never about genuine connection. It was a tool, now discarded because you're no longer playing by their rules. What's worse? That intense initial attention, the messages, the compliments, the constant presence, wasn't love. It was love bombing. A tactic used to overwhelm your natural defenses by making you emotionally dependent on their approval. Every perfect text, every thoughtful gift, every exaggerated compliment was a carefully placed brick in a trap. They knew exactly what you longed to hear, and they fed it to you in carefully measured doses. Not because they saw your worth, but because they sensed your hunger to be seen. And they know just how intoxicating that feeling can be when you've long been deprived of it. So why do even strong, smart, emotionally intelligent people fall into this web? Because psychopaths are exceptional at identifying your emotional openings. They sniff out your wounds like blood in the water and tailor their approach to feel like healing. They become whatever you want until they don't need to pretend anymore. And that's the heartbreak of this first red flag. Their affection isn't real. Their admiration isn't real. Their connection isn't real. Only the manipulation is. But here's what's real: your gut reaction. If something feels too perfect, too soon, that's not romantic, it's suspicious. If someone adapts to your world with uncanny speed, if their affection escalates at a dizzying pace, if they make you feel like you've found the one before they even know you, press pause. Because the truth is, no one is that perfect. And anyone who seems like they are might just be hiding a perfectly constructed mask. When you sense someone turning off their charm like a switch, when they no longer shine unless you give them what they want, you're not imagining things. You're not paranoid. You're seeing the mask slip. Sign #1. Superficial charm and strategic attachment. Recognize it. Name it. And if you can, run before it's too late. Chapter 2. The Web of Deceit. When truth becomes a weapon, imagine standing in your kitchen, holding a blue coffee mug. The person across from you, eyes locked on yours, calmly insists, "That's a red teacup." You laugh at first. Maybe they're joking, but their face doesn't change. They double down, confident and unmoved. "It's red," they say. You glance down again. Blue. Still blue. Yet a part of your brain begins to flicker, unsure. Could it look red in a different light? Am I missing something? This is the world a psychopath slowly pulls you into. A world where certainty dissolves and reality bends. A world where you begin to question the color of your own mug. A world where your own mind starts to doubt itself. They don't just lie. They reconstruct reality. Their deception is not occasional. It's not accidental. It's relentless, often delivered with a kind of poise and conviction that would make seasoned actors look amateur. They'll lie even when telling the truth would be easier, not because they need to, but because controlling the narrative is more important than being honest. And the most terrifying part? They're good at it. So good, in fact, that you'll question your own sanity long before you ever question them. This is sign number 2. Pathological lying and strategic manipulation. Psychopaths don't just tell fibs, they live in lies. They weave stories so elaborate, so detailed, so plausible that you'd need a full investigation team to unravel them. But even when you catch them, even when the facts are indisputable, they deny. They twist. They project. They gaslight. Gaslighting isn't just confusion. It's psychological warfare. They'll say things like, "You're overreacting. I never said that. You must be remembering it wrong." And over time, you start to believe them. You'll find yourself replaying conversations in your mind like surveillance footage, trying to confirm what you thought you heard. You'll start apologizing for things you know happened, because their confidence makes you doubt your own perception. They master the art of contradiction. One version of their story to you, a slightly altered one to your friend, and a completely different one to your coworker. They control every thread like a puppeteer, watching confusion grow as you and the people around you try to make sense of the inconsistencies. And when you do confront them, they flip the script so fast, you'll feel like the villain. They'll accuse you of being paranoid, controlling, dramatic, anything to shift the spotlight away from their lie and onto your reaction. This tactic serves one core purpose: power. Because when you no longer trust your own mind, you have to rely on theirs. And that's where they want you, disoriented, dependent, and off balance. But perhaps the darkest move in their playbook is triangulation. They create conflict by telling different versions of events to different people. James said he doesn't really trust you. Sarah told me she's uncomfortable with your attitude. All lies. All manipulations. All engineered to isolate you and keep you second-guessing your relationships, while the psychopath stays centered as your only true ally. They'll sprinkle in just enough truth to make their lies believable. A detail here, a shared experience there, like poison hidden in a familiar drink. You sip it because it tastes like something you've had before. You swallow it because it's wrapped in familiarity. But it still kills you, slowly. The most maddening part? They never admit they're wrong. Even with proof in hand, even when caught red-handed, they'll respond with, "You're twisting things. I can't believe you'd think that of me. You're making something out of nothing." Until you're so mentally exhausted, you let the lie go just to avoid the chaos. And that's exactly what they're counting on. It's not just about keeping you confused. It's about keeping you controlled. And over time, this emotional erosion leads to something more dangerous than confusion. It leads to self-doubt. You stop trusting your memories. You second-guess your instincts. You wonder if maybe you're the problem. That's when they've won. So how do you know you're trapped in this kind of web? Here are some questions to ask yourself. Do you find yourself frequently confused after conversations with this person? Are you often apologizing, even when you're sure you've done nothing wrong? Do others seem to have entirely different experiences with this person than you do? Are your memories being dismissed or rewritten by them? If you're answering yes, this is your signal. Sign #2. Pathological lying and gaslighting. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not dramatic. You are being manipulated. And the only way out is clarity. Start writing things down. Keep a record. Validate your memories with people you trust. Reaffirm your own truth, not theirs. And most importantly, don't wait for them to confess or take accountability. They won't. Your truth matters. Your clarity is your weapon. And your distance is your escape route. Chapter 3. The Empty Mirror. When emotions mean nothing. Imagine performing a song from your heart, every note soaked in feeling, only to realize the person watching you is deaf. They can see your hands move, they notice the reactions of others, but they hear nothing. This is what it's like to share emotions with a psychopath. They can observe emotional expression. They can mimic it. They might even say all the right things, but they don't feel it. This is sign number 3, the chilling hallmark that separates them from merely difficult people. A fundamental lack of empathy and emotional depth. Empathy is what binds us as humans. It's that quiet ache when someone cries, the joy you feel in another's laughter, the ability to look into someone's eyes and feel what they're feeling without needing words. Psychopaths do not have this. And it's not because they're cold once or twice. It's not a bad day or an emotional block. It's something far deeper, an emotional void that they've learned to cover up with performance. Yes, they can study emotions. They can label them. They might even react appropriately, but it's a script, a simulation. They are like actors in a movie about real life, rehearsed, polished, and soulless. You might notice it in subtle ways. Their voice is flat when you're grieving. Their response to tragedy is awkward or irritated. Their comfort feels strangely hollow, like they're playing the role of someone who cares, rather than being someone who cares. It's not that they don't know how people feel, they just don't connect to it. They view emotions like tools. If your sadness gets them sympathy from others, they might play the concerned partner. If your vulnerability can be stored for later, they'll remember your pain not to comfort you, but to use against you. That's one of the most disturbing parts. Your deepest confessions become their future weapons. You open up. You trust. You cry. And one day, when you're most fragile, they'll throw your own words back at you like knives. No wonder you're so messed up, you said it yourself. You were the one who told me you're insecure. Didn't you say your dad abandoned you? Maybe that's why you're so needy. It's a betrayal that hits deeper than cruelty, because it's calculated. It's not an accidental slip of the tongue. It's a strategic strike aimed at your core. And it's not just about you. Watch how they treat others when no one's looking. Do they mock someone's suffering? Do they roll their eyes at someone else's pain? Or are they more annoyed than concerned when someone's going through a hard time? They don't just lack compassion, they lack humanity. You may even notice that they struggle with introspection. They rarely express guilt, and when they do, it's performative, empty words, not a reflection of real remorse. If they hurt someone, they justify it. If they fail, they blame someone else. Their emotional self-awareness is like a flat line. No spikes, no depth, just surface noise. And here's the trap. Because they're so good at pretending, you might ignore your instincts. You might convince yourself they're just bad at expressing themselves, that they care deep down, that you can help them feel, but you can't. You cannot force empathy into someone who's biologically missing it. You cannot teach depth to someone who uses emotions as currency instead of connection. This becomes even clearer in long-term relationships. You may notice they lose interest quickly once the excitement fades. They mimic attachment, but never truly bond. Their relationships cycle through intense beginnings and cold endings. That's because real connection requires emotional labor, and for them, the mask eventually gets too heavy to wear. So what happens when you cry in front of them? What happens when you're scared? Vulnerable? Broken? At first, they may nod, hold your hand, say the right words. But watch closely. There's a pause before their reaction, like they're accessing a mental database. What should I say here? What would someone who cares do? It's subtle, but it's real. Their empathy isn't instinctual. It's engineered. And what's worse, when the mask slips, when they can't be bothered to pretend anymore, your pain becomes an inconvenience. Your emotions are met with boredom, sarcasm, or even hostility. They don't connect with your suffering. They see it as noise. And maybe the most painful realization of all is this. You could be standing there, completely shattered, and they wouldn't feel a thing. If you find yourself questioning why someone doesn't respond with genuine warmth, if your vulnerability feels observed rather than shared, if your tears fall in front of someone who looks at you like you're an object in a science lab, pay attention. Sign #3. The absence of empathy and real emotional depth. This isn't coldness. It's not aloofness. It's not emotional damage. It's a deep-rooted void where connection should live. And no amount of love, patience, or sacrifice can fill that void. You deserve to be felt, to be held, not just physically, but emotionally, to be seen,